Back. Today we're going to be taking a look at running our tool pass for our 5-jam part. Some things new in here. We're going to be taking a look at creating those tabs and also cutting those counter bores that we have. Either you have your 5-jam part still open on your screen, or you need to go up to the ribbon and go to open. And then we're going to select our H drive from the pull down menu. Remember, that's that gray box with the green line underneath of it. Scroll down, find your 5-jam part, and click open. Okay, so once I have my part open on the screen, what I need to do first is above the room bar, change from 3D model tab and go across to your CAM tab. Once you're in your CAM tab, the first thing that we need to do is we need to set up our part. So click on Setup, the Setup folder right here, and that should initialize a new CAM or a new tab in our model browser that's over here on the left hand side. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to choose where it says origin. We're going to change it from stock box point. We want to have it say stock box point. Okay, you can see that our origin is sitting in the middle of our part. We need to choose this the lower left hand corner of our part for our origin, because that's where our mill starts. Next, let's move across to our stock tab. This is something new for us. Usually we've been changing this to no additional stock. We're going to change it, leave it at add stock to sides. We're going to change the side offset here to 0.25. Everything else we're going to change to 0. Okay, so here, add stock to sides. We want 0.25 for the side offset, top, bottom, and round to the nearest. We're leaving all these three here at 0. Okay? It increases the size of our part. If you take a look at this, it increases the size of our part, but it leaves us enough that we can take and we could run our tool along the outside of this and still leave those tabs and have it clamped into the mill. Okay? So let's look at how to cut this. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to pocket these areas in here where we had that weight reduction and for our counter bores. We're going to do that on a 2D pocket, and then we're going to come back, drill our holes, and then we're going to contour cut going around the outside of our part. Let's finish up with our last tab. The program name and number, I'm going to take and highlight that 1001, and I'm going to put in 5-jam, name of the part, plus your last name, and then click OK. Alright, let's take a look at how to cut this part. The first thing we're going to do is choose our 2D pocket from our 2D milling area. Once again, we need to choose that tool, and either we're taking out of sample libraries and end mills, tool number 2 we're starting with, or you scroll all the way down to the bottom, Butler MS tool library, 1/4 inch flat tool number 2 is what we're starting with, and click select. Shows us what our tool looks like. Let's move on to our next tab. We're going to select our pockets. Now first I'm going to take and I'm going to rotate this just around so that I can see the bottom of the counter bores. Okay, you can do that by using the rotate tool here. Then I'm going to select my geometry. So I want the bottom of each one of these counter bores. Okay, and see when I zoom in, I want to make sure I'm getting that bottom surface, not this outside edge, the bottom surface. And I want to do that on all 4 of these counterboard surfaces. And the last thing I want to do is click on this area for that weight reduction that we're cutting away. And go home. That looks pretty good. Next, let's go establish our heights. Once again, same as we've always been doing, we're going to use model top and point 2 for each one of these in the top 3, model top and point 2. Okay, moving across, once you have that done, moving across to our next tab, we're going to take and we are going to uncheck where it says leave stock. We don't want any stock left over, we want it right up next to our geometry. Next tab over, We're going to uncheck lead in, uncheck lead out. And our ramp style, we're going to change to plunge. Okay, that looks great. Good job. Click OK in the model browser on the left-hand side. Okay, next we're going to take a look at drilling those holes that are in here. So I'm going to go next to my drilling operation. Drilling, click drilling here. And what I want to do first is I want to select which tool that I want. And that is in our sample tool libraries and mills, we're going to choose tool number 1. Or you can scroll all the way down to the bottom, Butler MS tool library, choose tool number 1, 1/8 inch flat end mill. Click select. Okay, once again in my navigation bar over here on the right hand side, I can click my rotate and I can rotate this up so I can see those holes. I'm going to change to my geometry tab. I'm going to click each one of these 1/8 inch holes that we made with our super awesome hole feature. Okay, doesn't matter what order you click them in. We have optimized order on here, so the computer is going to decide what order to do them in for us. Next, let's establish our heights again. Once again, as always, we're choosing our model top and point 2. That seems to work really well for us. Model top and point 2 and model top and point 2. That's for the top 3 here. Clearance height, retract height, feed height. All model top and point 2. Moving on to our final tab. It shows us that it's a drilling, and afterwards it's going to rapid retract out of that hole to move on to the next thing. Click OK at the bottom of the model browser when you're finished. And now we're going to go on to our contour. This is something that's new for us. So we're going to come up to our 2D milling and we're going to find our 2D contour. And the first thing that we want to do, whoops, I'm going to click home first. The first thing we want to do is choose our tool. We're going to go back to our 1/8 inch tool and we're going to change it from 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch. So tool number 2, 1/4 inch flat, and click select. Okay, that gives us the right tool that we're going to go around the outside of this with. Next, we're going to go to our geometry tab. Okay, we're going to our geometry tab. We're going to come over and we're going to select this bottom edge. Let me show you while I'm zooming in. I want this bottom edge of my part. Okay, make sure you're not selecting a surface or a top edge. We want the bottom edge, the back edge of our part. Okay, see how that back edge is all highlighted? That's what we want. Then in this same tab, we're going to come down and turn on the tabs option. In here, we'll be okay with rectangular. We can have a width, 0.25, I like that. Height, 0.06, and the distance, we're going to space them 0.75 apart. And you can see how it puts our tabs in here, so that when we're clamping our workpiece on, that these tabs will hold that, and this will be clamped in place still after we're done cutting. Okay, so that's something new for us, this tabs option. Let's move on to establishing our heights now. Once again, model top and point 2, model top and point 2, model top and point 2 for each of these top 3. Okay, next, for our passes, we're going to come down and in here, scroll down. Stock to leave is already unchecked, so we're good to go. Move on to our last tab, linking tab. We want to uncheck lead in, uncheck lead out, and our ramp. Nope, our ramp is fine. We're going to leave that the way it is. Okay, so we're looking good. That's our last tab. Click OK. So here we have our 3 tool paths that are created. Let's go up, click Setup 1. That's going to take care of all of our setups, and you can see from my front view how I have extra stock at the top and the sides. I'm going to turn my simulate on. Select stock option that shows us my full part and click play. It's going to cut those counter bores, then it's going to pocket out the area drill our holes, and then it's going to contour cut around the outside of our part, leaving those tabs. That gives me a good representation on what that looks like. Right here now is where you're going to take, and you're going to take a picture, a screenshot of what you have on your screen, and there's going to be a place in Google Classroom for you to submit it. Okay, make sure you can visibly see those tabs. If you can't, and you have to turn and rotate this a little bit to show me that you have those tabs identified, now would be the time to do that, and then take a screenshot of this and put it into Google Classroom. Next, we're going to come up to the top. Let's close out our Simulate tab. Next, we're going to come up to the top and we're going to select Post Process. We're going to select from our H drive. If this doesn't say H://, you need to click on this gray box here. Make sure that your H drive is selected. 5jam in my last name. 5jam in your last name should be that part number, and then click Post. Click Save. Great job. You're all done running the toolpaths for this part. We're going to close out the file editor. Make sure you go up to the top to the orange file. Go down to save this part again. And great job, you're done. Please don't forget to turn that into Google Classroom. Next one's going to be making the IDW, the drawing for this 5jam part. Have a great rest of your day.